having a great Sunday. I'm going to do a little video about Allandale Mansion. And it's not as old as everybody thinks it is. It was built in 1950 for Mr. Harvey and Ruth Brooks. Mr. Brooks originally lived in Rogersville. He moved up here with his brother up next to where Fort Henry Mile and all that is. They had a business working in lumber. I'm standing in one of his barns, but anyway. He came up here to work. Well, it was interrupted because he had to go to World War I, I think. But anyway, it was interrupted. But when he came back, they was going to do construction and stuff on the Fort Henry Dam. So he had to move his house and stuff because there was 22 families that would have been underwater. So he found this place and he bought it. Now I'll be posting pictures of him in this video, what he looked like when he went to war and what this place looked like when he bought it. He was also into cattle. He worked with his brother in lumber, but he didn't stay in that. I mean, that wasn't the only thing he done. He was mostly dealt with Angus cattle, solid black cows, the best cows you can afford. Anyway, all of this behind these barns was cow pastures. When he built his mansion over there, he had the front dome part, which I'll show you in a minute, and the main staircase, which you'll see in pictures that I'm going to post. He had those brought up here from Knoxville, of a mansion they was tearing down there. Him and his wife bought those, and they was only like a 2-lane highway from here to there. He had to go through the Department of Tennessee to get permission and a police escort, because they loaded that staircase and that big dome and those pillars and stuff on those trucks. Well, there was bridges and stuff that it couldn't go under those bridges. So he had to pay these farmers to take their fences down, let the trucks go through their fields, and then pay to have their fences put back up. But that's just something he wanted done for his wife. When he bought this land, the way he's tied in with Rotherwood and Netherland and all that is Joshua Phipps had bought a lot of this property over there for his daughter, one of his daughters, Obadiah, I think is how you say her name, and her family. And that's the little house part that you see in the back. He built the mansion and added it to that. That little house part is where their kitchen is. Now on each side of the mansion are little tiny white houses, and I'll show you that in a minute if I don't get run off first. That he had 2 live-in maids, you know, like a head cook and a maid, and then he had like a groundskeeper that lived on the other side in one of those little houses. But keep in mind, this was mostly all just cow pasture, that's all it was. When his wife died, he donated, I think he owned like 1,000 acres or something like that. It might have been more, but he donated like where Walgreens and all that stuff up through there next to where the school is, because that was the main reason that he wanted the land donated, was in honor of his wife. So they would build a school there in her memory, which is the ETSU school. But he remarried about 5 years later after his wife died to a real good friend of their family, and her name was Mrs. Pratt. Anyway, when he died in the hospital from a stroke. But everything that he owned, the rest of what he owned, was left to the city of Kingsport because him and neither one of his wives had children. But there was conditions that he left to the city. One is that they have to keep it maintained. It has to stay maintained as to, you know, up to standard the way he would have done it, and improve on it. And two, once a year it has to be opened to the public, because when him and Miss Ruth lived here, they would have Easter egg hunts over here. Churches would come over here and have picnics. When he lived here, he would allow that to happen. I mean, he was really a kind man, is what they say. He was real quiet, didn't much like to have his picture made. And I've looked and looked and cannot find a picture of his wife on there. You probably have to go in the mansion and maybe a picture in her, I don't know. But anyway, I thought you'd take a little walk with me. Like, I mean, most people see now Allandale, but it was designed from a home in Georgia to look like that, to look older than what it is. It's not really that old. I remember when I was a little girl, there was cows over here. But the city's kind of turning it into a business, like, you know, weddings, stuff like that, you know, a bunch of weddings and stuff. They put that fountain thing in down there and all that stuff. It's really peaceful and quiet over here. I mean, he was well known, had lots and lots of money. But he was well known for his cattle, mainly. He also had his own veterinarian building, which it's no longer standing. It was up behind where CVS is right now. It was like made like a barn too, but he paid his own veterinarian, which helped him with his cattle and things like that. That man, before they went out of business, came to my house and checked on a cow that we had at one time. So see, it's not really been that long. My kids was little. We just moved over. We hadn't lived over long. Back here's another barn he owned. Ain't it pretty? I do a lot of weddings and proms and stuff like that over here. A lot of people do. There's ducks everywhere. I'll go down here and look around. I'll let you look. It's the ducks. Ducks everywhere I go. You know what that means, right? Whenever there's ducks, there's poo. Anyway, all of these houses back here, all these houses, that was his land too. And now there's houses over there. A school is over there. I reckon he was like 84 or 85 maybe when he died. I never have understood how come they have bamboo right here. That's weird. That is, it's weird that they got bamboo right there. It make no sense. That Obadiah that I was telling you about, that Mr. Phipp's daughter that lived in this little house up here, was related to my husband. It's the one I was telling you about. You know, that Josh Phipps, the slave driver. Anyway. I love that house right up there. I don't know if you can see it. On a hill. Pretty. There's a lot of big houses around here. In the pictures that I'm going to post, it'll show you pictures from inside. You'll see a room that has like 2 little twin beds, and those little twin beds, his wife had those specially made out of a magazine. She just tore the page of the magazine and then took it to some guy that was a decorator. And he made those beds specifically just for her. They're like one-of-a-kind beds. There's a freaking gazebo. Weird. I don't get it. It's gazebos. I really don't. Gazebos are weird to me. I mean, and you know, they just ain't that pretty, I don't think. But anyway, this part. Let's see if you can see it. I might be too far back. Wait a minute. Hope I'm not making you guys dizzy. See how Tennessee weather is? It's like 55 today and it was snowing yesterday. Crazy. Weird. I left Kramer back there in my car. Don't know what he's doing. Okay, let me get up here. Maybe you can see it better. Do you see the little part of the house? The little house part is what Mr. Phillips had made for his daughter. They ended up down the road selling it to the Brown family. Their last name was Brown. Well, after that, the people that, the city that took over were all the, Allandale, calls that little house the Brown house because those people. That's his other barn. See it? We just passed it. Over there's Stone Drive. It's like a little shed right here. I'm gonna walk over there. It's Sunday, so I don't think anybody's here. I like to have fence like that at my house. This was added by the city. It wasn't there. Now, there's the little house. See it? This part. That's what was owned by my husband's family. This little part of the mansion is where the cook and the maid lived. On the other side is where the groundskeeper lived. There's also an elevator inside there, and there's 4 chimneys. He said that he wanted to come into a warm, inviting home, so he had 4 built. This garden was done by the city. See how old this little house is? Let's go over there and take a sit. I wonder what it looks like inside. You guys want to see? They got boxes and stuff, but you can see it's got a fireplace in it. I hope you can see. Can you see the fireplace? They had a big family that lived here. Can you imagine a big old family in this little bitty house? I don't know what's in here. This probably would have been like a kitchen area or something. Anyway, little tummy rocking chairs. Look how offset that door is. Sits at a slant like that. Anyway, there's another one of them freaking dials, man. It's weird. I wonder what that is. Look, there's another one like I found over there. The other place. What is that? I'm gonna have to look at it. Anyway, this statue was from the city. That wasn't there. This is the back part of the mansion. See? Look over here. It's a beautiful garden with pretty flowers. See? Here's the other part of that house, the side, which they use. Mr. Phipps and them used it as like a kitchen area, but it's now the office for this place. When I let you look through the door, you can see the big staircase that he had delivered. Let's see. See it? The ceiling is 12 foot upstairs and 12 foot downstairs. That's how big it is. These windows. Look in here. If I let you, I don't know if you can see. It's that big empty room. There used to be a piano right there. I don't know where it went. Over here is the little house that like the groundskeeper and stuff lived. I'll show you. Over here. There's a garage on this side, but the other side is like his home, you know. This amphitheater here was put up by the city. That wasn't there either. And all of these houses that's back behind there, that wasn't there either. It was just land. And there was cows everywhere. But you know, like right over here where those apartments are right there, like the low-income apartments behind CVS, that right over there is where his veterinarian office was and stuff. It's just like right through that field right there. All of that was just land. And that wasn't that long ago. Really wasn't. But this house was designed to look old. It's not really that old. But it was left to the city. See how tall? There's two of the chimneys. I think it has 4 bathrooms, 4 chimneys. It's got a parlor, a dining room, a sitting room. That's where the groundskeeper lived. Now around here on the front porch, the big dome at the front and the big pillars, that's one thing he had brought up here from Knoxville from on those trucks. This part, all of that, and these poles, and that big gigantic staircase, which you'll see in the pictures. See all the land? And there's Stone Drive right there. Across the road's Hosting Defense. And this place was known in this area as the White House. And you can see why. Humongous. Look up here. Maybe you can see it through the door. Anyway, I think the city's done really good by keeping it up. This big chandelier in there. There's the big staircase. Can you see it? Is it not beautiful? There's a picture right over there on the wall of him and Miss Ruth. Can you see it? If I can find that, excuse me. If I can find that online, I'll add it to this video, okay? And be sure that you subscribe. Hit subscribe, okay? This part of the mansion is like the dining area. Over there where Pizza Hut is and all that, he owned all of that. Every bit of this was donated. Plus, he had books and stuff. A lot of the original books and pottery and china and all that stuff was left here. But he also donated a bunch of stuff to the Kingsport Library. This is the humongous tree that's been here forever. And I remember when it got struck by lightning and it tore this whole part right here down. And that's just been rebuilt. See, there's the stump. That was just recently. Not recently, but I think my oldest son might have been 10 or 11 when it happened. Look how big around that thing is. That thing's huge. Anyway, that's where the maid and them lived. This is the back of that little house. Looks like the front, don't it? It's really a pretty place so people can come in. It belongs to the city. They can't charge you for walking on the grounds or nothing. But they can charge you for going inside, naturally, but anyway. There's a whole lot to all this stuff. Can you imagine all the cows he had over here? I mean, he had all kinds of cattle. Well, I'll be back in just a second, okay? Oh yeah, there's another thing I meant to tell you. Miss Ruth, his first wife, was a school teacher, which is why when he donated the land for ETSU over there, it was in her memory because she was a teacher. I reckon she was a really kind lady. They was really quiet though, him and her, and they didn't take many pictures of them. But anyway, that's what happened. And it's just odd he come from Rogersville up here. So oh yeah, another thing. Up near where the bowling alley is, there's in Kingsport, used to be, it's right like north of Eastman Road, is where there's like a circle of roads. His store with his brother was right in there. And after he passed away, they named that circle Brooks Circle after him, because their business was there. The lumber business that they was in was right there where that circle is now. Well, it's not a circle, it's you can go all different directions right there, right where you can go to the bowling alley. You know what I'm talking about. There's that ugly ass gazebo. God, I don't get it. They got that gazebo right there. It's got lights on it on the bottom. I mean on the top. It might be pretty at night, you know. But in the daytime it's just plain, man. Check it out. See? Anyway. See, some people come over here in the summer and they fish them ponds over there. Sim ponds. But there's actually, those ponds were for the cattle. Well, guys, see this barn? There's a sign. I don't know if you can see it from here. Right above that door. And it says Harvey's Barn. The reason that is because he spent a lot of his time there. Working on cattle, you know, and the feed and all that stuff. He even had prize winners, cattle, you know. These trees are old. Look how big around these trees are. Huge. I think them's pine trees, I think. Anyway, be sure you check out the pictures I'm going to post. I'll be back in just a minute. I'm getting ready to pass these people, and they're having pictures made. So, I will be right back. Hey, this part of this barn back here, let me tell you a few minutes ago, and I'll just walk right past it. But they used this part, which used to be where cattle was naturally, but now they use this part when they have like dog shows and stuff for like puppies, you know. It's really cool. Over here's this little pond. Pretty, huh? Anyway, I can't believe this weather feels this good today, and it was snowing yesterday. I'm telling you, it's crazy. I'm gonna let you look a little bit, okay? It's really pretty over here at night because they have lights outside. It feels pretty at night, especially at Christmas. They usually have their, you know, remember me telling you one of the conditions was it had to be open to the public at least once a year, free of charge, to let them go through the house and stuff, which I think is pretty cool on his part, you know. Anyway, they usually do that around Christmas. Let people see all the Christmas trees and the lights and everything. A friend of my mom's lived, oh, sorry. Get killed. A friend of my mom's lived in that subdivision. There was a subdivision behind me, back this way, that they growed up in when they was young. And on Halloween, they would all walk through this field to trick-or-treat over here with Mr. Brooks. And I know a guy, he was telling me that they'd walk way through all that field to come over here because he was so excited. You know, it's a big old mansion and stuff, about what kind of candy and stuff that they would get. Well, his wife was the teacher, remember? So, what they got when they would come over here would be a small bag of popcorn, an apple, and one tiny piece of candy for each kid. And that's what they got from Mr. Brooks and his wife for Halloween. And I remember him saying, he told me, and my mom's friend, his name was Joe, told me, he said he would be so disappointed because he thought he'd have, you know, the best candy. And it turns out this be healthy crap, he said. Anyway. Oh, it's just one of them things. But see how they made it all look like it's real old, you know? I always thought that's pretty. That's why there's so many barns over here, because it was actually a cow pasture. Get back in my car and check on Kramer. Reckon he's here, my ghost. Let's see. Hang on just a second. Let's see. Nope, he ain't here. Not yet, anyway. You know how that goes. Oh, goodness. It's one of them days, people. Get out of the way there, Pooh Bear. All that walking, it's good for you, but it'll wear you out sometimes. But yeah, this place ain't been here too long. I think it was 1950 when they moved over here. Now them 22 families had to move from over at Patrick Henry Dam. Anyway, I hope you guys have had a great day today. Be sure you check out the pictures I'm going to include in this video because they're really interesting. Some of them that I found have Christmas trees in them, but those were pictures that was taken during Christmas time from years past. But it just goes to show you that every time you try to go somewhere, people got to show up everywhere you go. Just got to learn to deal with it, don't you? Well, anyway, I don't know if they're having a wedding or what they're doing over here. People just driving through, I guess. But anyway, I hope you're having an awesome weekend. I love you bunches. Today's Sunday. Take at least 5 minutes for yourself. Okay? Take a breather. Clear your mind. Let all your troubles just get the back burner there. And just relax. Take a deep breath. Breathe in. And breathe out. And just enjoy what's around you. You deserve that much anyway. And that's free. Don't cost you a dime. Alright? Well, anyway, I love you bunches. Bunches and bunches. Peace.